Okay, so God of War Ragnarok just got this new free DLC in honor of them being able to sell nearly $1 billion worth of the new game. Now, obviously, I played through that already, and actually, my PS5 was the God of War Ragnarok edition, which is kind of neat. But the Valhalla DLC is, like, unironically super hard, in my opinion, and I would say that most people agree. This is primarily because it resets most of your stats each round, so you kind of just go in naked. Now, if Megan Fox was here, that would be sick, but she's not, so it just kind of sucks. But I thought it would be funny to try and beat the DLC without using any weapons at any point at all, and just exert all of my personal problems into the poor NPCs of this DLC with my fists. So today I'm going to be seeing if you can beat God of War Valhalla using fists only. The rules are simple. You can only use fists. Okay, let's go. The DLC opens up with you and Mimir on a boat heading to the shore, which is actually just called The Shore. Yeah, so if this was ever in Google Maps, I don't know how accurate it would be. But anyways, this is actually the place where you come back to every time you die. And I died shortly after starting the first round of this DLC, since you kind of have to, I'm pretty sure. This is because Freya needs to show up with her girl power feminist squad behind her to tell you about some new stories and lore. These folks then yap and yap and yap until we start to sing for some reason. I didn't sign up for this. Okay, so now it's just free range to play the game without anything stopping us. Each round, as you might know or might not, has you fight a few enemies in different areas, getting progressively harder. Now, I should also clarify, you are allowed to use finishing moves on enemies. And yes, I know the animation shows me chopping people in half with axes, but that's just a prop, it's not real. So a good thing about using fists only on every normal enemy is that you do in fact raise their knockout bar. I don't remember what it's called, but the bar that triggers finishing moves raises higher than even Travis Scott 99% of the time. So that's the main way we kill enemies, is just by using finishing moves. Another cool thing about this challenge is you no longer have the need to pay any attention or use any brain cells when picking items from these chests. I can't read anyway, so that's awesome. And I'm not gonna lie, using fists only low-key was a vibe at the start here. Like, I was just beating up animals and PETA didn't even care, it was sick. And I was on a roll of just winning until I made it to this room with a cool chair. And since Kratos is more of a fan of standing, he completely lost his shit. And we teleported back to Freya on the shore so she could tell us how much of a failure we are. But isn't she divorced? Seems pretty hypocritical if you ask me. Anyways, we now get to go back through the exact same waves as last time. You can probably tell by now how this DLC works. You just fight enemies over and over. But we did reach an enemy that sort of, how do I say this? Completely and utterly ruins the entire fist-only strategy. There is occasionally men who have elemental health bars, which means you gotta use the opposite weapon in correlation to do a ton of damage. And if you use anything else at all, you just can't. It's just kind of sad. So since we got fist as our only option, I had to punch, and I think I actually sprained my left index finger, I'm not gonna lie. So all of these enemies right here pretty much just took forever to kill, and I was so relieved when I killed that one frozen dude finally. But then I turned and saw another one right next to him. I now have 14 reasons why. And the next arena was with a ton of fire enemies, and after I cleared the floor with their asses, there was one left and he was being a little annoying ass bitch like my ex-girlfriend, just sitting out of reach on this ledge. Now I couldn't just block on Instagram to get rid of my problems, so I had to use the force and the enemy just died. I honestly have no clue how this happened, it was crazy. We then got to do the first extra harder fight of this run, and it was with a giant man. Now usually big men are a lot of fun for me, but this one was a frozen one. So not only does he have blue balls, he also took forever to kill. But after I penetrated his blue heart with love, he instantly became much weaker, and I then stole his own weapon. And blew his mind, if you know what I mean. Another annoying enemy for this challenge is the dumb flying ones. Not because you can't get them, but because you can, except that they like run away from you and you have to wait for them to come to you, and yeah, it's just kind of gay. Anyways, we also fought the first boss on this DLC, and his name is Fisk. Fun fact, by the way, this is also the first boss you fight in any new playthrough of the DLC, no matter what, which is neat. And I tickled his nuts for a while if you're wondering how the fight went. It was pretty epic. So Kratos then, as usual, went through another door, but this time instead of being conflicted with an enemy, it was just an annoying man who Kratos has beef with previously, which is why he then shoved him into the cremation chamber to burn. What a good strategy. Hold up, let me write that down. But sadly, the head turned back into Mimir, and it was all a mind game. Now, normally I love playing mind games, but not when it has to do with poor Mimir. He is my favorite character. Thankfully, the entire place conveniently blew up at the perfect time, and Sigrun also appeared to save us. Wow. 2 coincidences at once. What luck, am I right?
That's what I'm saying.
So I don't want to play with you all and constantly talk about these beginning rounds since they're all pretty identical. So let's just skip to when some real action happens, which is something I've never seen in my life so far. But anyways, we ended up in the final area of the DLC, which is this giant open place where you have to go around and clear out these orbs of enemies and find chosen slain to kill and reach the little kill counter to appease the gods above. These aren't usually too hard, especially if you do them fast, so then the difficulty doesn't go higher and higher, but they can be quite annoying, like when you fight elves and they constantly have you shield break them over and over. This is the reason depression exists, and nothing else. But once I acquired 3 souls of the damned, I made my way back to the golden poop spire in the sky and then walked into it because Kratos don't give a fuck. And yeah, we ended up back in Sparta, I think, or this is just a poorly lit, dusty room. Who even knows anymore? But we did have a boss fight with this super fat enemy who looks just like your mother. Anyways, Kratos then made his way back to the cremation chamber again and instead threw himself into it because mental health is bad in January no matter who you are. But this was actually the right choice according to the therapy gods, and we passed the first test, which then puts us in the final area of the game with a boss fight against Tyr. And he's a homie, so we just punched him with love for a few minutes and it wasn't too bad. But the fight did end without me getting to split him in half, so I am a bit dissatisfied. And so is Kratos, since he had a damn seizure right after. I thought my grandma was the only one who had those. That's weird. Oh yay, look, we get to go do it all again. Whoa.
Oh my god!
So, when we made it to the final area this time, there was some bitch just singing a song in the middle. Now, I tried to tell her nicely that copyright is a thing, but I had to punch her to death to get it to shut up. My god. Oh yeah, also, those orb things got up to 4 this time because, well, difficulty increases. Wait a minute. Maybe this is actually the game trying to show kids how annoying inflation is so the next generation will pass a damn tax law. Or it's not. It's just a game. Yeah, it's probably just that. But once I got the requirements to boss battle once more, I did just that, and we got sent straight on in to touch Tyr once more. Now, when I'm in the midst of punching him, I don't think about much, but I did notice that he sort of looked like he liked it. Now, I know he was in prison for a while in the God of War universe, but like, come on, man. The antidepressants are just one doctor's trip away. You don't need to go to Valhalla and have the God of War himself beat you up. And the fight again ended with us just holding hands. Now, one time, that's okay, it's fine. But twice, I'm starting to think this is on purpose, and it's just a little bit odd. Anyways, Tyr showed Kratos this extremely cool video on YouTube that you should all watch, and yeah, it was so good. Kratos had another seizure. Bro really needs a doctor's trip. When I was heading back to fight Tyr again on the next run, however, I got jumped by one of Thor's children named Modi. Now, his name, low-key, sounds like a Japanese vacuum cleaner brand, so I made sure to beat him up. Can't have none of that here. Also, the chosen slain got up to 5 now because inflation. So this next boss fight is pretty identical to the previous one, which is kind of scummy because the final one is like an insane difficulty increase. So low-key, that's a little bit evil. Yeah, and even this final cutscene was the same, but I changed the video for you guys, don't worry. Seizure time! Oh, and hey, look, we got to fight Thor's other kid this time. Except his name looks like an off-brand condom company. What a good lineage he has going. Lots of creativity in the family. Alright, so now we are back at the place again, and it's obviously at a whopping 6 kills this time. And I did all of that because I'm a god of war. Actually, just bad jokes. Anyways, it's now the final Tyr boss fight of the game. And this is actually the final fight of the main story, as a matter of fact. So if I can beat this fight right here using fists only like I have the whole time, we have accomplished the goal today. It begins and immediately you can tell it's harder, not only because my pants got bigger, but also because his health is purple. I know. Amazing. Tyr also spawned in some random centaur slave to help beat me up, which was just horse. It was a horse. Anyways, this fight went all right the whole time until the ending when it started to get a bit more difficult. Also, when you pin him against a wall, he for some reason just takes it. Bro might actually have more issues than Kratos. No wonder he's in here. But I ended up messing up at the end and had super low HP, but then got hit again and somehow, some way did not die. I seriously have no clue how I didn't just fall over and die right there. But I lived on. And after me and Tyr almost kissed each other, I managed to activate full-on punching rage power and just laid into the man with everything out on display. way. So we managed to survive and take out Tyr with pure rage and fists. And then Kratos also overcame his therapy lessons and is now at peace of mind. And he also accepted the culture of sitting down instead of standing. What a journey. Anyways, it actually wasn't as hard as I thought it would be. So yes, you can beat God of War Valhalla using only fists. And pretty easily actually. But if you want to see me try this in the hardest difficulty possible, then get this video to 10,000 likes. Okay, goodbye.